Welcome everybody to another CIRF report. This is take 2 for tonight, and sorry this is going to be getting out very late. Just lots of things having to work through, a lot of emotional ties that needed to be cleared up. We are looking at the week of June 11th through June 17th. I appreciate everybody being here. We do have a little bit of good news, bad news going on. This week, we have a very, in my opinion, a very clear solution. So hang on to the end. The bad news is that the solution and the influence, it looks like they're kind of melding together. And it's not a really congruent kind of solution slide. Check this out. So we have, like the remnants of the Sun Square Mars thing, like the riots and the looting and all the... Okay, here's one I didn't mention before. So if you have seen this recently or even today, it just seems like today is hitting a crescendo. And I'm not seeing this necessarily in the stars other than Sun Square Mars. Who is feeling betrayal? And if you're feeling betrayal, please put those in the comments below, because I need to go look at, I think there's a little bit more stronger influences in the various places for betrayal, but I never really talked about it specifically, but I am seeing it with a lot of clients. So put those comments below if you have experienced that. We have still that quadruple retrograde. We have the Sun Square Mars. It's going to be our last week of that for a while. We have the Sun sesquisquare, the Pluto and the Jupiter. So Sun and ego are adjusting. And then we have some opportunities. So in essence, the astrology starts with more conflict, it turns more into adjustment, and then turns into opportunity and a little bit of interest. Well, a lot of introspection, actually. All right, that's the astrology. The DreamBot, the collection of dreams and the collective unconscious, according to Carl Jung, is very important to watch what the collective is doing. And it's moving forward. Oh my God, you're going to love this DreamBot run. There is a little bit of a collision meme in there though. And that's not really overlapping with the I-Ching. So we've got centering in truth with I-Ching 61. But in general, okay, so centering in truth, and then with this Mars, with the Sun sesquisquare, the Pluto, especially the Jupiter. Jupiter is all about deeper wisdom. And a lot of other things, of course, but deeper wisdom. And so we're going towards inner truth. The DreamBot, not really a part of that per se, but the moving forward can be. Congruency, you can argue this might be either a little bit higher or lower. I don't really care. The point is, it's probably the lowest congruency score we've ever seen. And let me get into the DreamBot because there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to go straight into that. And already we're starting to see linguistic set number 1 that needs a little bit more explanation, because it includes the word sprites. Who knows what the word sprites is? Well, before I go into that a little bit more detail, look down here in linguistic set number 2. Sprite is also there. So it kind of throws off this idea of the soft drink Sprite. Let me show you. Oh boy, hold on. Let me get all the way up to the top. I went ahead and copy pasted the word sprite and what it means. First, it's the noun is an elf or fairy. Okay. And next is a computer graphic moved on the screen and otherwise manipulated. So that right there, because my image is moving around, that's a sprite. But most importantly, I want you to listen to this. Number 3, a faint flash, typically red, sometimes emitted in the upper atmosphere over a thunderstorm, owing to the collision of high energy electrons with air molecules. I know it's a mouthful of words, but I think very important. A collision of high energy electrons. That's a sprite. So now let me read linguistic set number 1. Corridor bus crash sprites. So if we're looking at all these, the word crash is part of the word sprites, is the collisions and crashes and corridor. So what's the bus here? Well, bus kind of implies a lot of people on board and moving forward, but what if that is more than that? This might be kind of like a flash in the sky, and some people who are talking about the ascension process might be referring to these strange lights up in the, the flashes. Some people describe it differently, but, who knows? Maybe that's part of this. And of course, let's not throw out the idea that this might just be a direct discussion about what's happening. So like a corridor of buses crashes or something. You can read it literally. Linguistic set number 2. And by the way, for those of you who are new, linguistic sets are possibilities of actually coming true. We saw that with the false flag and the riots and the Antifa and everything else was projected about 2 weeks in advance in these linguistic sets. All right, linguistic set number 2. Began, sprite, off, turned, life, saw, did, darkness, 2020. So we have the sprites. These are the collisions of lights or electrons creating light. And we have the word life, and we have darkness 2020. So, man, I don't know. To me, that almost sounds like a transition. How about that? A major transition of some sort. Or the lights go off. I mean, actually, sprite off turned. Or off turned life. That doesn't sound very good. That sounds very negative to me. But look at all of the red arrows here. These are all about forward, drive, and even decide on there. Corridor, bus, trip, wheel, forward, wandering, bridge, direction, commanding, trailer, moving, decide. It is forward. It is going forward. Where do you find that in astrology? That is looking a lot like Sagittarius. It is also, if you're thinking more along the lines of train, it could be Taurus. It's a foreshadowing. Don't forget those two. We're not limited to just Taurus and Sagittarius, but those are the two main ones, are just moving forward and not stopping. And then the blue arrows, there's not many of them, but we have crash, sprites. Sprite remembers the collision, off, and darkness. And so there's a collision, but also just maybe some general negativity. All right. Oh, I know that was a mouthful. Let's go look at the astrology, something a little bit easier to digest. We don't have any changes of signs for any of our main planets. The sun is going to be entering into Cancer in the next CIRF report. Also, keep in mind that we have the sun square Mars that we've been talking about for so many weeks now. This is going to be the end. It's going to decay out, and none of these just magically turn off. It's not like on-off switches. These are magnitudes that, levels between 0 and 10, for example. And around the 6th of June, this sun square Mars was at the tightest alignment and went exact on that day, which means that energetic combination is the strongest. It doesn't mean that halfway through, like on the week by the weekend, it's like this energy's gone, but it's just going to slowly keep decaying. Okay. So by the end of the CIRF week, you're going to have this ego war inside of self is going to end. Then we turn into the sesquisquares. These are the agitators. This is the Venus gets agitated, then the sun gets agitated, and we have a square, and then we've got Mars conjunct Neptune is in here, and that's fighting. What am I fighting for? I'm fighting to escape. Maybe escapism is Neptune, and warrior is Mars, and so is fighting an illusion. Think about that. But then by the end, we're pretty much left over with these blue alignments and the green. So you start off with conflict and blockage. Then you go into ego has to adjust. That's the blue stuff. And then the green stuff, these are opportunities. So it goes from agitation to adjusting, ego adjusting, to opportunity. So it's a real neat turnaround for this week. I wanted to go over that overview for you because And I really like that. There's a lot going on in this there's a standard shell here of energies that are going to go throughout the entire week in general. Sun, square, Mars. That is what we talked about. That ego conflict is going down. That's going to start to decay. What is going up now is Sun in conjunct Pluto. So the ego is having to adjust to the whole Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn deal. And we've been talking about this for so many weeks now. In this case, we're looking at a transformation of inner wisdom. And it's, I want to point that out. We're going to talk about this a little bit more, but Jupiter and Pluto are the big in conjuncts with the sun this week. So you have ego that's adjusting to transformation, and it's adjusting to Jupiter, in this case, going to be like goal-oriented, deeper wisdom. Jupiter is deep wisdom, higher knowledge, that kind of thing. If Mercury is kind of the lower level of mind, the rational mind, Jupiter is deep philosophy and higher wisdom and that sort of thing. So I'm just planting the seed now. And then in addition, you've got the Venus trine Saturn. That's worth talking about. That's the law of harmony, relationship. And there's kind of some easy things in terms of law with money or discipline. It's easy to discipline with Saturn and money, that kind of thing. And then you have Mercury trine Neptune. And so thinking and fantasy. This easy. Trine is easy energy. It's easy to rationalize the dreams. It's easy to get lost. What looks like logic might actually be fantasy, and the other way around. All right. Now on Friday, this is a real interesting aspect. We got all these planets, Mars, Moon, and Neptune at 20 degrees, so pretty tight in there. And it's real positive. But what is this? It's basically all these things together. And again, this is on June 12th in the evening is where this kind of corner pocket is congested in Pisces. So it's very emotional, idealistic, self-sacrificing. It's confused with Neptune. It's aggressive with Mars. It's escapism with Neptune in Pisces. So what the hell am I fighting for? I have to stand for something, but it's very difficult to figure out what that is. And then my emotions are in there too. So that's really, it's a search for what's truth, because Neptune is probably showing you some falsities there. Then there's some opportunities over here with Pluto. This is going to get stronger. And then Mercury is trining all of that. So there's easy energy to think about everything I just said. Thinking about how emotional, idealistic, confused, aggressive, escapist you are. All right. And then 3 by sextiles that are going to go bam, bam, bam. Those are big opportunities. Sextiles are opportunities. So you're going to transform with all of this weird energy all together. That was Friday. All right, now what strengthens is the same energies, but Sun in conjunct Pluto and Jupiter now, getting stronger with both. And ego in Gemini, so ego is thinking and rationalizing, but he has to adjust, or she has to adjust to the in conjunct with the deepening philosophy, the deeper wisdom, the inner truth. I'm hammering this home because this is going to be directly related to our solution. Everything else pretty much stays the same. On Sunday now, so I forgot to mention, throughout the weekend, this is where these in conjunct become the strongest. And so the mind is busy adjusting. The ego is busy adjusting. It so happens that on Sunday, about midday, is where the part of fortune is hovering. I mean, it's not a real planet or anything. It's more of a mathematical calculation. But that point in the sky, as if it was a planet, is hovering right over the sun on midday Sunday. And that's very fortunate. And so, it brings a lot of achievement and a lot of success if you let the ego do its adjusting. If you adjust appropriately, logically, mentally, with those things we talked about, Pluto and Jupiter, that's going to be very successful. Okay, especially as we proceed into these opportunities that start to manifest. All right, energies are still there, but they're starting to dissipate. So that includes, Mercury and disregard. We're talking about the sun now, and that's past Pluto. And then the sun square Mars, that one is about finished. We still have sun adjusting to deeper wisdom on Monday. On Tuesday, look at the adjustments now. The inconjuncts now are dissipating, going away, and the opportunities now are getting more plentiful because we got Mars and Neptune that are conjunct, and then you got these three planets conjunct. So you got a lot of opportunity. By Tuesday, it starts big opportunities. On Wednesday, the strongest is going to be Mars sextile Pluto, because those are the closest in alignment. This is the opportunity to drive forward. Now, finally, towards the end of the week, this is where the collective unconscious is clearly focused on now. So about a week forward, we are moving forward as a collective on Wednesday, the last day of our CIRF report, 17th. And by the way, that driving forward is towards transformation. It's a huge opportunity, and all this channeled energy is thick, and it's doubled up, tripled up. So anyway, yeah. So in summary, again, all the conflict is finishing up at the beginning of our week. By the weekend, you're adjusting to everything, and then by the end of the week on Wednesday, you've got all these opportunities to drive it forward. All right, let's get in the I-Ching reading. Oh man, look at this. When we cast the coins, we now have hexagram 61, wind over lake. This is inner truth, people. Centering in truth. So the influence is people want the truth, they're seeking the truth, etc. And this is where it gets convoluted when we get back into the rave mandala. But anyway, here's the influence: centering in truth, connecting with the fundamental wisdom that is within you, within other people, within all of nature. That sounds a lot like that Jupiter and in conjunct sun. So now we're adjusting, we're seeking, etc. Truth becomes power when you let go of prejudice and make yourself receptive to the world as it really is. Remember the Neptune thing, and Mars is conjunct with Neptune, so we don't really know how it is really. So this becomes very illusionary. We want it, but it's hard to get to the truth. This kind of inner transformation can produce a remarkably influential person, but is difficult to achieve in the distracting modern world of false messages and fake friendships. It is achieved only by those who cultivate a genuine openness to the way things are and possess a willingness to see into the heart of things rather than to merely looking at appearances. Oh, so true for this time period. You got to go deeper. Truth means a lot in today's world, but so few of us have it. And nobody has the absolute. It takes all of us to get closer to that. When your inner life is clouded, your influence in the world is likewise hidden. If you are fearful, you will be attacked. Let me read that again. If you are fearful, you will be attacked. If you cloak mysteries with dogma, opportunities for insight will be lost. If you waver in upholding principles, you will be tested. Yet, when you are firm and strong, the power of the truth can break through even the most stubborn minds, including your own. We had 4 lines, so don't be distracted by trendy fashions and clicks. Instead, dig down deeply, and your field will yield a bountiful harvest. Line 5, if such a person is true at heart, coming into his or her circle of influence brings great fortune. Line 6, talk is cheap, but integrity is mighty. By the way, every one of these is going to get translated directly through the Rave Mandala into the solution. That's why I said earlier, it's really convoluted, but it'll be easy to read when we get into the solution. Let's go ahead. We're on a roll. Let's do it. We're onto the solution now. So we put on our change lines and we got hexagram 54. This is careful affection. This one really had me kind of curious, but once you see it all kind of combining into the astrology, it'll make sense to you. Affection is an important part of intimate relationships, but it must be handled carefully to be both satisfying and supportive of each other's self-respect. It is an irony of life that the happiest people are those who have what they want and who want what they have. If you assert yourself too much or try to make yourself indispensable, you will invite misfortune. If you are in doubt as to whether you should follow your heart or your head, allow some time to pass and perhaps your answer will become clear. Boldly asserting yourself right now could bring misfortune. Boldly asserting yourself right now could bring misfortune. So do not attempt to be overly creative or to attract too much favorable attention. At the same time, allowing yourself to drift aimlessly can be a mistake. Find balance in the middle way. This is really important. It's not a time to be, and you'll see this in the summary slide, but it's not a time to be lazy and just kind of kicking back. But it's not a time also to be wanting and needing a bunch of attention and really asserting yourself. And so you got to take that mix. Let's go into the sidereal now. Now this was when this is on Sunday. This is when the part of fortune and sun are conjunct, and we have that in conjunct with both Pluto and Jupiter. And so we need both of those. The ego has to be in mind and using the mind to adjust to the deeper wisdom. So you need to be able to remember that and assimilate it. So we need 61, hexagram 61 in the Rave Mandala, which, did you catch that? 61? Where was that? That was the, oh, look at that. That was the influence. It just so happens that 61 now is part of the solution. Now, to be fair, the Rave Mandala could actually probably be both because it's in the middle. It's in between the tropical zodiac and the sidereal. The sidereal zodiac is our solution. It's our behaviors that we want to employ to maximize the energy influence from the tropical. And in between that is the Rave Mandala. So we have both. We have hexagram 12 and we have hexagram 61. We're calling that the solution. And I don't mind that because it's going to get even crazier and more convoluted as we go. Because you look at, remember when we talked about the deeper wisdom and what constellation that is? The zodiac sign, Sagittarius. That's your deeper wisdom. That's the ability to drive forward too. It just so happens your inner truth and your ability to just go, just like the collective wants to do, is already in Sagittarius solution. And then the other go is Taurus. This is the one that doesn't get diverted, doesn't get confused, has a hard time slowing down. And it's like a train, slow and methodical, but it just goes. And it's a bull. How do you stop a bull? So hexagram 12 and Taurus. So we have 2 sidereal and we have 2 Rave, 61 and 12, and we have Taurus and Sagittarius. I'll put all of this together, but I want to read really quick the 2 hexagrams. I don't want to take a lot of time, but hexagram 12, Rave Mandala is the gate of caution. Standstill is the only gate in the throat that is specifically about non-doing. Is a gate of social caution, of wariness about the collective. It's non-trusting of other people. In fact, it's the gate of aloneness. It is natural to be hesitant about social interaction. The individual has its greatest impact as a stranger of consequence, releasing its awareness in the proper spirit and the withdrawing. Then hexagram 61 in the rave is the gate of mystery. I like this. The potential of provocation is the discovery of the spirit. The potential of inner truth is silence. Where did we start this whole discussion? We started it in the inner truth. And we end the solution with the potential for inner truth. That, it just doesn't get any more bizarre than that. It's probably the weirdest CIRF report, in my opinion. All right, ready? We're going to do the solution slide. And here's your, here's your influence. I couldn't find anything to signify inner truth, so just, it's inner truth. It's a search for truth. We all want it. We all need it. We're all begging for it. And now here is the solution. I can't quite seem to, oh, maybe I normally have it there. There we go. All right. All right. So we have the triangulation. This slide never really changes these colors. We have the rave mandala. Remember, that was the inner truth, the pressure to know the absolute truth. And we also have social caution and non-doing. So we throw that into the red ring, the green ring. Then the blue ring is the I-Ching 54. Remember, that was careful affection. Asserting too much can bring misfortune. And then from the sidereal, you have two. We have the Taurus and the Sagittarius. So freely explore expansive, optimistic wisdom. That's Sagittarius. Taurus is deliberately ground thyself in integrity and your values. Avoid being superficial, overconfident, lazy, picky, impatient. Okay, so right in the middle there is the balance. But together we need to freely explore expansive, optimistic wisdom and deliberately ground yourself in integrity. All right, let's focus on what the very middle of the triangulation of all this is. First of all, from the rave mandala, it warns us to expect provocation. And when you have that provocation, this is going to force discovery within you. That was from hexagram 61. It's from the harshness from the outside world. It forces you to really look within. So silence yourself and explore inward. And then expect social caution. Expect to feel that tendency for untrust. That's an influence and the solution. Reduce the neediness in others. It's okay to be social, but not as an escape from, say, aloneness, isolation, the feelings of abandonment, that kind of thing. Use the social as appropriate, but mainly use it as a catalyst for inner truth. So when you're going in with other folks or having conversations, use that as a catalyst for deeper truth across this group. There's you can do the same thing with your group. So if you have a overlap of the core values, maybe that's a possibility for collective truth. But above all, stay true to your highest values. That's the deliberately ground yourself in integrity. That's the Taurusness in all of this. The Taurus also, the solution there is to experience this, experience everything that we're talking about. All right, well, that's it. I will bring our summary slide up for the end. And we covered a lot, but inner truth is both an influence and a solution. And in order to get there, you're going to basically be using all the provocation you're going to be using for the external world, the stimuli. You're going to use that to help you guide inward to get deeper wisdom and deeper truths. Wow, I did all that in less than 30 minutes, so yay me, yay you guys. You have any questions? Do you have any other comments? I know there's stuff I missed because there's so much stuff in this astrology. It's everywhere. It's crazy. What we forgot to talk about is going to intervention to get your reading, to get your psychotherapy. We have it all there. Request an appointment. Look at the services that we offer. And then record your dreams. Go to the National Dream Center. Record your dreams. Converse with other people's dreams. Talk about depth. You can really get deep on any one of those things I just mentioned. Going to intervention, getting some help, getting some readings. Or National Dream Center and looking at dreams. Dreams have truth in them. All right, everybody. Have a good one and be careful out there. Later.